Welcome to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, the place for you to break free from the norm and celebrate your life, because what we believe in our hearts becomes our reality. This is Magical Moments with Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments, for that ease and that betterment in your life, because right now we need that ease and betterment, and it's time for it, actually. I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and today I have a little nugget for you. It's this fear that's going around. Fear, fear, fear. Everybody's in fear. We're supposed to plateau pretty soon, or we're supposed to get into a crisis more, or we're supposed to, I don't know, it's always a fear. Now, think about that. When I was a kid, I learned very young that fear was not going to help me. And the idea of panic really didn't help. In fact, when my kids were growing up, I said, it's just the simple guys, the brutal mom. I said, if you panic, you're really you can't do anything. And if you're out in the wilderness, you just die. Now, I can say that because when I was 10, I got lost on a little mountain with another little girl. And she did panic. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is not good. We're not getting out of this. We're gonna, if we stay here all night, there are the black bears, there's the mountain lion, we're gonna die. And so I said, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I was 10. I said, we have to do what my dad said. My dad used to always take me out. He used to always show me different things about nature. And I said, okay, moss grows on the north side of the tree, and always follow the river down. Those are the two things I remembered. So I told her, I said, okay, look for moss on the tree, which really helped because it gave her something to do instead of just going around telling me what are we going to do? We're going to die. That's what she was saying. And I said, okay, you look for moss on trees. I'm going to start looking for a river. And we did. We came across a river. We found, of course, moss on trees. We understood our direction. And then I said, let's go with the river because I don't know where this town is. And we'll just have to, my dad always said there was a town at the end of the river, that you'll always come upon a town. So I followed it and we ended up in the town. Of course, there was the rest of the Girl Scout troop that was there, and they were not happy with me, mostly because I was the wanderer. And anyway, but we made it back safe. And that was a valuable lesson to me. I learned that if we had panicked on that little mountain, then we wouldn't have made it. They would have had to send out search crews. They probably, who knows if they would have found us or not, because we were frozen with fear. Or we were grasping at things that truly weren't going to help us. That's what fear does. And I get it. I get it right now, guys. I get it. I get it that we're spinning. We've lost the control. We've lost our routine. We've lost our structure. Some of us have even lost our jobs. We have lost our lives. But here's the thing. If you panic, you'll never get your footing. If you panic, you get mixed up in the drama of the losing, and you never get your feet planted on the ground again. You gotta breathe. You gotta stop. You gotta just take the time and say, okay, I'm going to just stop. And believe it or not, what really snaps you out of it is to start to do gratitudes. I know everybody says, oh my God, here she goes again, another gratitude. No, I'm serious. If you start to say, God, I love you so much, or Spirit, I love you so much, and I am so grateful that at least that I am here, I'm alive, that my family is well, that I have a roof over my head, that I have the opportunity to find a new job, I have the opportunity to keep my family safe, then it will knock you out of the panic mode and into what can I do to move myself forward. I think this nugget is not only good for this time, this little magical nugget is good for our whole life. So I hope that you kind of tuck this away and put it somewhere safe in your mind and let it come out, just like my dad's belief that you always follow the river down the mountain. You just do that gratitude and kick yourself out of that panic mode, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. All right, now I have a guest today who we're going to be talking about how to keep that sanity while you're in this wonderful quarantine that we're in. But it's keeping your sanity in every part of your life. And this isn't the only thing that can drive us crazy. So I'm going to be talking, her name is Darlene, but really she's known as Mama D Angel. I love the Mama D thing. I need a Mama D thing. She has been out of the spiritual closet, she calls it. I always say it was my coming out party for 3 years. And she's a Reiki master in level 2 and a grandmaster with David Crawford. Okay, now she is someone who has been always wanting to connect to angels, even when she was a young child. And some of us get those urges. Some of us get those urges to, we know. Gosh, you know what I did at 3? Well, at 3, I used to put my crib on its end. I didn't rock the baby dolls. I put my crib up and then I lined them up outside of me and I talked to them. I was teaching. I've been always a teacher, always someone who was nurturing, always somebody who was trying to give more knowledge or wisdom, even at 3. So at 3, when Mama D says she felt she had to connect to angels, I believe it. She recalls sitting in church and having the angels come to her, and she was just enthralled. I believe you would be. So then she found herself embracing oracle cards. And then she was also doing, let's see here, she connected with her spirit guides. Now, on Lowell, we haven't really talked about that. But I'll tell you something. We have guides. We have a guardian angel. We have guides. We have so many. You got to know, the universe has our back, guys. God has our back. We don't always feel it, but he does. And then she is one who has also had radio shows. Now, or shows, and I want to tell you, in 2015, she had the Paramania radio on a show called Fireside Chat with Mama D. I like that. And now she has one that's on YouTube and also on Facebook called The Conversations with Friends. And isn't that just perfect for now? Because we all need friends and we all need community. And with that, I want to bring on Mama D. Hello. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am well. I am so well. So,
okay, just a little correction on my bio. As I said, I think it's been, I've been out since 2012.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more than 3 years. I always forget to update all my bios. It's like, oh.
Yeah, that's all right. Sometimes that happens, So how have you, my dear, because you are guided and you do so much in the spiritual world, how are you dealing with all this stress that's happening right now?
I take it in stride. I pay attention to the news because, you have to. Our community is small where I live, so you pay attention to the news, make sure, the family is fine. But I don't overstress because, like you said, once you stress, you get anxiety about something. It doesn't actually help.
No.
So I pay attention to it and I digest what I need to, and I put it away for future reference in case I need to know, where to go, what to do. But to me, everything is common sense.
It is. So when you do hear the news and things like that, do you have to go through a process to get yourself back into sync? If it's when you hear that there's 3,000 now and it's gone up 2,000 in 1 day and a half, what does it rock you at all, or are you in a place where you just think, okay, my gosh, that's awful. I need to sit down and do a meditation and send light. Or what do you do? What gets you into the space where you can actually start to function? You know what I mean? Do you have a little jump, or are you all there?
I'm most of the, okay, I think once in a while it just sort of does, I get the hiccup where I think, oh my gosh, like you said, 1,000 in a day. But then I stop and I have to think, it's because they're doing the proper testings, the results are coming out, it's all kind of common sense.
Yeah.
So, but if I do get to that point where and it's rare that I'm kind of stressing from it, yes, I will sit down, take a few deep breaths, and just focus and ground. Yeah. Because when we get too excited, too agitated, and the anxiety levels go high, you're not grounding yourself. You're not getting to you're not sitting in your chair.
No, you're not.
Like you said, your feet are not planted.
I always talk about nature. I'm a big nature person. Mm-hmm. And so what I will do is if something rocks my world in not a good way, then the first thing I do is I go for a walk. Yeah. Or I go out I'm very lucky I have some woods right here that I can just go and I sit. I live on an Indian mound, which is really cool.
Oh, nice.
And I sit and I just talk to God. And believe it or not, people, I talk to the trees, I talk to the birds, I talk to the grass, I talk to the flowers. I get myself back into the reality of the world. And that's what I have to do. I can sit in my house and no, I need to get out in nature. I need to touch. I need to get myself grounded and ask for all the resources that I can to understand the situation and get myself back where I want to be. Yeah.
It's true, but see, right now I'm in Quebec and there's still a lot of snow outside and I don't do cold.
You don't want to go outside.
No, I'm not going outside. I have a lovely window that I can look out and the the blue jays seem to scream out my window and let me know that everything's fine. So I connect there. But yeah, when the weather is nice, yeah, I go outside. I am in the country, so it's like woods. One section behind me is all woods, and my neighbors, my closest neighbors, are about a 3-minute walk that way, to the left, nice. And the same thing for the other side. So I'm not in an apartment building where I'm, or in the city where it's constant craziness and always. I have space between myself and the other people, but. It's, you need to get out. You need to a lot of people forget, just go out bare feet, stick your hands and feet in the dirt and connect because,
ground and pull that ground around. Now, as far as you coming out in your spirituality, mm-hmm. Now you've been with the angels since you were young. And so what caused you to come out? Why didn't you stay in your safe little nest of everybody not knowing?
My daughter's fault. I blame it all on her. She came to me one day and she said, "Mom, I need to talk to you. And you can't say anything until I'm finished." And in our family, that's when it's a serious conversation. And so she sat down and she told me how she connected to spirit. And then she said, "Okay, now you can lock me up in a rubber room." And I said, "Well, if I do that, I'm going to have to be there with you." Aside from she's my favorite because she's my girl. I knew that I had connected with angels and a lot of other things in the past, but I just closed it down because it wasn't what people wanted to hear. And so I opened up then.
Yeah. So now, lots of people are going to be saying, "Oh my God, she talks to angels. Oh my God."
I talk to a lot.
We've got to get out the rubber jacket. No, but I want to kind of venture into this. I mean, what does it mean? And how do you feel? Okay. I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate in these questions on purpose. Okay. So to help people understand. So I talk to angels. How do I know it's not some awful thing that I'm talking to?
I've had that question before.
Good.
For me, because I surround myself with light, with goodness. And I know that anything that comes into contact with me is goodness, is light, is positive. And I also know that I'm not naive to say that there's no negative out there. There is. And if it comes into my circle where there's a different vibration I get, it's just like, it's almost like a shiver. Yeah. You know, when I'm connecting with my angels, with my guides, I get a specific type of shiver. When the shiver changes, then I know there's something different. So I always put it out there. It's like having conversations with God, prayers or whatever. I just sort of sit there and go, okay, guys, this is how it goes. If you're here for positive and good, then you're most welcome to enter into my circle. But if you're not, I'm going to ask you to leave. I'm going to send you off with a big hug and come back when you're ready to, sit down and have a nice, delightful conversation. I've never been one to, somebody once said to me, somebody sent some negative energy towards me and I sent them back at them and I told them to do whatever they wanted to do to me, do to them. And I thought that was so ridiculous that you're sending back a negativity. It just makes it continue to rebound.
Fire feeds fire.
Exactly. Yeah. So I say what you do is you send them back with love. Say, go back to the person who sent you. Say, Mama's sending you a hug.
Yes.
Just send it positive. So for me, I know
living with love. It's living with love
out there, but I don't focus on that.
I learned very young that, it's, I think our strength, I always think of it more like water. It's light, but it's water, and water always distinguishes fire. Mm-hmm. So how am I going to do that? Well, if someone is giving me negative energy, whether it's vibrationally or physically, or they're just plain not nice, I find that if I'm more like water, meaning I feel like I am not going to throw back, and also fire feeds fire. Yes. You feed fire and it grows. So how do you be more like water? Well, you send love, you send light. And like I've talked on the show 100 times, when we do our gratitude at the very end, we always send loving light to 3 people or 3 things that are bothering us. And we allow that loving light to just totally surround them and keep them in good and love. Now, that is how I have seen people say, well, yeah, Alena, really. But it changes everything. It does.
It does.
Because number one, it changes who you are. You're not going to be all filled with vinegar when you go up and meet that person.
Nope.
Because you're filled with love. And you're acting more like water.
Exactly. Very nice.
And that's exactly what you're doing. And it's true. It's true. We can use that we should use that just as much in the physical world as we do in the spiritual world.
Yes, we should. But I think this time, as much as people are disliking this self quarantine, I'm calling it Mother Earth sent us all to our rooms. As much as we don't want to be in our rooms,
yes,
it's time for us to stop and think the positive. And I know a lot of people go, oh my God, you're always positive. And I've had negative things happen in my life, but if I have to go back there, I go back there with kindness and love.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think, she's always happy. Yeah, I have my moments, but I don't let them last long.
No.
So if you have somebody who's coming at you with negative, don't allow it to change who you are.
You kind of talked about being sent to our rooms, and we are home.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, I'm going to go back. With that, we have to deal with things we've never dealt before. For instance, I am doing a radio show at home. I don't have a producer. I do not have all the studio stuff. And so that's one thing. But then there's also, we are in the home with people. There are other people here. We are in this home with people all the time. We are in this home night and day with the same people. Now, people are not used to that. People find that very, very, very hard. You're dealing with kids that you haven't always gotten along with. A spouse, oh yeah, I did have one of those. Where did he go? Oh, now he's always here, or she's always here. You know what I mean? It all of a sudden you are in a space that you have to, it's not your own anymore. It is everybody's. How do you have any ideas or how are you dealing with it? Or how have you seen people do? What do you think is the best way for people to start dealing with this?
I think I've been seeing a lot of memes on Facebook and a lot of conversations, how people are like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck in a house with my children for 24 hours. And first off, all my children, I love them dearly, but they have moved out. They're all grown up and they've all moved out. I've invited them back, but they don't want to move back in. So I'm okay, But people are saying they see different sides. There was a post on Facebook about this woman whose husband at home normally is very frantic and very, he can never sort of sit down. But yet he does his meetings from home now, and she sees a complete opposite side to him. There's a man who sits in front of a computer and has meetings with people, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly where he's going. So you see different sides.
Yes,
so that child that you don't get along with for the normal amount of time that, they spend, because all children, we all do, but children are still going through growing their roots and growing their energies.
Sure.
So they're testing it. But this is a time you'll see a different side of them. Forget that angry child that you normally see and think, okay, what is it I can do to help them?
And I always say, if you just have to sit down with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever you like, and write out your goals.
Yep.
What do you want this time to be like?
Yeah, because this is a free game. This is like, when you're playing pinball, this is a free game. You've got an extra ball to play with.
You've got an extra ball.
Exactly.
And I think if we thought it more that way, my youngest son is big on the computer. I mean, big. And it has it can build a wedge between us, only because of the actions that that he becomes when he's on the computer. It's a different person that emerges. So instead of thinking, okay, I'm just going to abandon that and let him stay on it forever.
Keep him out of my hair.
I see my piece. Or I can take this time when we are stuck in this house with a computer and start to build a relationship and start to help him see what's important, what's not, the importance of other people. Start to see that other people have boundaries. And he has to learn that, is that a boundary that you're willing to adapt to, or is it not? So we have been, and actually he's doing very well with this. And give him choices. Don't tell him to get off the computer, but tell him, this is what I see. And this is a choice. Is this what you want? It's been a success because it's non-confrontational.
Yeah.
But it also raises the awareness. It's giving him a chance to grow too in this space, just as much as I'm growing. And I think if we looked at this time for all of us to just grow as a family, grow as individuals, grow as souls, then our actions will be different. Don't you agree?
Exactly. You give them the opportunity. When life was normal, if that's you want to call it, and you didn't get to see your children or your spouse but a specific amount of time a day, you wanted to fit everything into one. So instead of asking them what they want or giving them choice, you would tell them, okay, I'm making fried chicken for supper, and you're going to eat it whether you like it or not. That's it. But now you have the time to say, hey, do you want fried chicken or do you want baked chicken? Let's discuss it, because you have them there for that much longer. So you're not trying to go, okay, for that, 45 minutes or however it takes to cook the meal and make the meal, and everyone sits down and say, okay, how was your day? You're part of their day.
Yeah.
So you get to see what they go through, and you kind of sit there and go, I never knew what you did on the computer.
That's right.
Like, show me what you do.
This is a really rare chance that we have.
Yes, it is.
And really, I have to say, when I'm coming in from doing the radio show or meeting with clients, I'm in another place too. We're always in another place when we all come together. And then it's like a relaxation time,
Yeah.
But when you're with each other 24/7, this is the time when you can all grow stronger in your relationships. Yeah.
Very true.
Look, I think if you look at it that way, you won't be so quick to just get angry and so quick to put your demands out there, like we were authoritating queens and kings. With this, okay, so how much do you draw upon the guides and things in your life to deal with situations?
I do it. I used to, when I first started connecting with them, I used to make conscious effort to do it, but now it's part of my rhythm. It's part of it. To me, it's like breathing. It's like people go, well, how can you not know that they're there? You're in the middle, in the middle of a crowded room. It's like they see, what is the woman's name? The Long Island medium. She goes into the stores and she tells people things, and there's different other mediums that do this. She says, how can you not do that? Well, because that's, first off, not what I do. And I have built boundaries of time frames. I know my guides and my angels, they're always there. You could be sitting down watching something on TV and I'll get this shiver, and then it's okay, there's something I have to do, there's something I have to pay attention to. Yeah. So for me, it's just like breathing. I know that they're there, and when they want me to have my attention, I get a nudge somehow, some way. Hopefully, thankfully, it's not a smack upside the back of the head, but because sometimes I can be difficult.
When I help people connect to their soul, and I help them to connect to their world, their universe, I do say, they do ask that you just have this, but you just, how do I want to say it? It's not like it's something new, or it's not like it's something that's going to interrupt you and you're going to be between two worlds all the time.
Yeah.
But let's talk more about this, because we have to take a break. And this is Magical Moments with Alena Chapman and Mama D. And we're going to be right back. I want to discover this a little bit more, because this is important and could help everyone's life. So come right back.
This is Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your ease and betterment. Stay tuned for more of this week's featured interview.
You're listening to Magical Moments, and we are definitely talking about the magical here. And it's all about the ease and betterment in your life. And don't we deserve that, especially now? And I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and we're talking to Mama D. We have been talking about how to keep your sanity in this time, how to use this wonderful time of quarantine to actually begin to grow as a family and your bond and your love, and also as a person. And I'm not saying go on a full-fledged, just a project that usually takes months. No, just do little things that help you to connect better to something bigger than yourself. Start reading something. I'll tell you, if you really want to read really cool stuff, there are some books out there, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that, this is a good time to read it. Neville Goddard has some wonderful books, more spiritual. If you want something shorter, Troward. You can get online and read Troward or O'Donoghue. These are beautiful spiritual, empowering, inspiring articles that you can read. Also the Tao. You know what you could do? If you can get the Tao online, you could actually take just one little phrase. And I've done this. I did this when I was younger. I was doing what Dr. Wayne Dyer did. Because I was a big giant follower of Dr. Wayne Dyer. I studied all his stuff when I was 18 all the way till I was about 36. And so he would take just one every day, take one little phrase from the Tao and then kind of focus his day on that phrase. What a beautiful time to do that. That would give you growth. That's all it takes, guys. But let's get back now. That's a recap. Let's talk a little bit forward. We're going to go a little bit deeper with Mama D. So these guides and these angels, people are so scared that they're connecting to something crazy. So if people wanted to start to, who is a guide? What is a guide, first of all? Guides
can be different. For different people, it's different. It's like leaves on a tree. each leaf might look the same, but they're not. They're
Right.
different. When I first started, I knew in my heart of hearts, I knew that I had angels. And I never felt anything but positive. But people want to learn that you have different guides throughout your life, and how do you connect to them? There's online meditations and guided meditations, but I could never follow those. So what I did my very first time, and I wanted to know if any of my guides had specific messages, because there are a lot of people who get audio messages that they can hear it or they can see it. I just kind of get the knowing. I know what it is. I know that they're there.
Kind of pops into your head, or it just.
I call them flashcards.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, that's that. So what I did one day was filled up the tub, put some candles, put some nice music on, and I just closed my eyes and I just, for lack of a better word, I meditated, but I was just in the moment. And then I had 3 guides come to me. They were animals of sorts. There was a fox, there was a wolf, and there was what I learned later was a firebird.
Uh-huh.
And each one had a message for me, but each was a different stage in my learning.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't the fox per se that you see the little red fox. It was more of an animated fox where she was wearing a gown.
Right.
Or a cloak, for lack of a better word. And she just stood there with her arms out. And for me, that was telling me that I was loved, I was welcomed to listen to what she had to say. But everybody's different. I know that I have my major spirit guide is my Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when I'm sitting and I'm contemplating life and thinking, okay, what do I have to do? I can feel her beside me. Actually, this is a he. I can feel him beside me. I feel it. I have a cat and I have a dog, so I know when they're around me, but I can feel the rubbing up on my leg.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first connected with him, all I could see was black and these piercing green eyes. So I was like, okay, guys, this is the question. Who are you? Because you kind of get a little bit black and green eyes. Like, hello, I'm not in the woods. I don't see, you know. And then he just sort of backed up slowly and I could see him. So I bring him into a lot of my work when people need guidance, when I need guidance to help people with guidance. He's always there.
Oh,
He doesn't tell me what to do, but it's kind of like a seeing eye dog. You can't tell them what to do, and they can't tell you what to do, but they guide you. They push you in a direction where you need to go. So for me, my guides will do the same thing.
It's free will.
Oh, yeah.
You never
and I have a very free will that sometimes I'm stubborn.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. So, and it's very good. So when now you just get out there and you help people do this, you help them connect.
Yes. If they want me to, I will sit with them. I will do, like I said, again, for lack of a better word, a guided meditation, because everybody's different. I'm not one of the type of person who follow guidelines. Okay, how to do things and do step 1, 2, 3, 4. I might do step 1, 4, 3, 2. That's because I'm special. I'm different.
Everybody, I always say to people, everything I teach, I always say, and that's why I'm a soul curator and not just a soul something. You know, people have coined me a soul nurturer, and I am, I guess, in the way I go about it, but I'm a soul curator because I actually draw upon everything.
Yes.
And even science and also all the modalities, all the religions, everything, because I love to learn.
Yeah.
And all that wisdom. And I have found, well, when I was a musician, because I taught music for a long time, I was a professor of music. And I also worked in churches. I've worked in almost every church. So I just have gained, I've been so fortunate in my life to be able to gain the nuggets from everything. Mm-hmm. And those nuggets are very similar, and sometimes they have a little twist. But if I can bring in that to people and give them a choice, because not everyone's the same way. No. And not everybody connects in the same way. Not everybody learns math in the same way.
No, they don't.
You know, and our connection to God, the universe, is a very, very personal thing.
Exactly.
And I think if we could just, I think it's important. How can people get onto your show or get hold of you in some way?
Well, I'm pretty open and easy to get a hold of. Just go on Facebook, type in Darlene Mama D, or just Mama D. You'll see this crazy lady with the red hair. I'm always there. I accept pretty much anybody as a friend. But my Facebook is open. It's not private. You don't have to. You can follow me. You don't have to. I have my radio shows are done as a Facebook Live every Sunday evening. And sometimes I do just pop up in the middle of the day and go on a rant and just, I need to make sure that people see the good. And if that means me acting like a little bit of a crazy person, then so be it. It puts them in a good place.
It does. It does. I love that. Okay. So guys, look up Mama D. I just love that.
Did you tell them that you will be on my show in a few months?
Yes. And guys, that's by the way, I will be on the Conversation with Friends.
In May.
So that is in May. Yeah. And I'm very excited about that. So I will let you know. I'll put a post out there and you can join us, especially if it's on Facebook. By the way, I wanted to take some time at the end of this show to talk a little bit about a question I got today. And it was all about these meditations I'm doing online. You know, since we've started with this, coronavirus and this whole pandemic, you know, there has been so much fear and sickness in the world, as we talked about in the show. So I had started this meditation that I do on Wednesday afternoons at 1:00. And it's Eastern time zone. And I have anybody who wants to join come and surround this world with beautiful light. And this person asked, Alena, I know I feel it in my mind, but is it real? Yes. It is real. It is real. Guys, our imaginations are our link to the universe. It's our imaginations. And so the more we grow that imagination, the one thing that has been taught out of us, if we grow that imagination, the more we grow in our discovery of the universe, of our connection with Source or God. Not only that, but the ideas that flood our brain are incredible. How do you think Steve Jobs could picture a phone or a computer in his hand? Do you think that wasn't something that was known? There was nothing like that. Where do you think he got it? Where do you think some of the great art and some of the people that were able to tell art that was way advanced, or stories that were way advanced from where the time that they were living right now? It was their imagination tapping into something so much bigger than themselves. And I know a lot of us haven't used our imagination in a long time, or we find we're limited in it. So what do we have to do? We have to build it like any other muscle. Imagination is one of the 6 gifts of the Spirit. And I really do feel that it is one of the strongest because it is the one that influences all the other 6. If we grow that imagination, we trust the intuition, which is how the Spirit talks to us. It changes our perception of the world because we are looking out at the world in a different way, because all of a sudden our imagination is showing us something so much different. So our perception, which is another gift of the Spirit, is altered and changed for the better. Then our memory, all of a sudden the good memories fill our brain and the critical mind starts to silence because we are connected to something bigger and better, and trust and surrender grows. And reasoning, because our perception changes and our imagination has grown, then our reasoning and the steps we take forward in our life are different. That's another gift. And then the will, the will to do things, we find that we don't have to muster that will, that all of a sudden it is there. Why? Because we have the trust, we have the surrender, because we have widened imagination, we have connected. They all work together. So this imagination, and when I bring you up into that place of taking your light from inside you, your soul, it's your soul, and having it grow to such a massive expense, because our souls always want to create and expand. So when we ask our soul to expand, it does it willingly, because it wants to create, it wants to grow. So bigger and bigger it gets. And as we cover the whole world and then allow that beautiful light to disperse the darkness, disperse the fear, disperse the sickness, disperse the negativity, the criticalness, the cynicism, the bigotry, the blame and judgment. Let it just push all that out, and guess what we're left with? Love. Love. And then we let that love of that light fall down like rain onto everyone and every living thing, including the earth, healing the earth. These meditations are real. The manifestations you do every day are real. We do not put enough stress on our imagination. We do not trust. But everything you do inside you and you see, you can create, because it is real. It is real. It's funny. I deal a lot with the so-called ethereal frame, and I deal a lot with the physical world. I always have since I was a little girl. It never stopped, except for a little time. And then I got it back. But I have to say, I think that if we would take the time, okay, I know we all like to visualize. We see our goal, we say we're going to go for it, but then we doubt it. We're like the little doubting tree. You know, I always use this story from India. Okay, this is how real your imagination is. So this man is, I don't know who came up with this story. I think it's a very old story. But this man goes, he's very hungry and he's lost out in the plains, and he sees this big giant shade tree and he thinks, I really need to sit down under that tree. I'm so tired and it looks so comforting. So he sits down underneath the tree and he says, I need a glass of water. Bing! He gets a glass of water. He says, I'm so hungry. I really would love to eat. And bing, he gets this whole table full of all this beautiful food. But then he starts to doubt. What is this tree? Is this a spooky tree? Oh my gosh, are ghosts going to come out and haunt me? And bing, ghosts come out and start to haunt him. And he goes, are these ghosts going to torture me? And bing, they torture him. Our imaginations are as real as that tree. And so often we misuse our imagination. We allow the criticalness to enter into it. We allow our doubt to enter into it. We allow ourselves to think bad or evilness will come, and that comes into it, or that this can't happen because I'm just not worthy, or whatever it is. You let that come in, and you let it pollute the imagination. You let it pollute your connection to Source, to God. You let it pollute the lines. That's why we say, when you believe, don't worry about the how, trust, surrender. Trust that it is real. Trust that the light that I'm sending around that world, that we are all sending around that world, is real. Trust that the ideas you are getting from something so much bigger than yourself. So they have to come in. They're from divinity. Trust that you have a link to Source, to God, to the universe. You have it. And if you do that, my gosh, it changes your life. It changes your life. You know, when this pandemic came, I mean, sure, I want to take care. But panic and stuff, like I said at the beginning of the show, no. No. But knowing that, you know, we're going to be fine. I trust. I totally trust. No matter what happens, we're going to be fine. Knowing that, I think really, to tell you the truth, to answer this person's question, our imaginations have been altered. I was always called a daydreamer. Well, yes, I was. It was more fun than what was going on in the classroom, to tell you the real truth. I had very few teachers who were total innovators and really loved to learn as much as I did in my soul. And they were just stuck on the rudimentary, this is how you do it, that's it, there's only one way. And that just didn't float my boat, and even as a kid. And so I would just find myself looking out the window and daydreaming. And so I have always kept that imagination really alive. Plus, you know, at an early age, I did experience some incredible stuff that I was told was all wrong. No angels can come visit you. Those are awful things. But I didn't allow that to enter in. I allowed myself to grow in what I thought was real, and frankly, a hell of a lot more fun. And now as an adult, my gosh, when I had my own kids, it fostered my imagination even more. You know, for a little while there, it was there, but it wasn't. But my gosh, when I had kids, you're going through a car wash. It wasn't going through a car wash. No, to keep 3 little boys content while you go through a car wash, you have to use your imagination, folks. And what did we do? We weren't going through a car wash. We were going into the deep blue sea, and we were going to see the octopus, which were those big giant rags that come down and wipe your car, okay? And we were going to see the seahorses. I forgot what the seahorses were, but they came in all over, probably the brushes. But anything. And then also when the wax falls down on your car, I made that like, okay, now we're coming out of the water and we're getting onto the beach. And boy, it's a windy beach. Oh my gosh, watch your hat, there it goes. And the boys would giggle and giggle. And we would have just this magical place in our minds, fostering this incredible imagination. And if I was driving down a road, and heaven help us all, if there was that foggy morning with a graveyard, I keep saying that because boy, I would say story. And we would all have to do a story. I would start it, then one of my sons would take over, and then another one. You know, you all take over a phrase or two, and you build this magical story. You're fostering your imagination. And another way to foster it, because it's so true, go and sit out under a tree if it's warm enough, get into nature, or if it's not, find your favorite place in the house, grab a nice cup of coffee or cup of tea, whatever floats your boat, and sit there and say, what if? What if? What if I were president? I don't think I want that job right now. Okay, so what if I was an astronaut? Or what if I climbed the highest peak? What would that feel like? What if I was a movie star? What kind of fostering, filling it out. Start saying, okay, so why would I want to be a movie star? Oh my gosh, because I could act in all these incredible shows and make things come alive for people, stories. And I would just ask myself questions as I go. What would be my favorite kind of movies? Oh, I love suspense and mystery. So, all right, I'm already setting myself up into a mystery. I'm exercising my imagination. And what does that do? Oh my gosh, you go on a journey meditation and it can go for miles. You want to talk to Source or God, you talk to Source or God. You want to go for your goal and not have that worry, doubt, and fear? Well, you have built your gift of the Spirit, of that incredible imagination so big that you can see the end goal in all its finery, in all its jewels, in all its wonderful fulfillment, and you don't have the fear because you believe, because you have built one of the strongest gifts the Spirit has given you into such a force that you know it's connecting. I thought that this might be a wonderful thing for us to answer this question right now. So to that nice gentleman who was on my meditations on Wednesday at 1:00 on Facebook, yes, my dear sir, the light you are spreading through this world, the light and love, and letting it fall down on raindrops, on everyone, on all life, on everybody who's suffering from sick, from everyone who has such strong anxiety. You are bringing the light. Guys, join me at Soul Manifesto. These are the things we talk about. These are the things I want to bring more and more to you. I want to build your gifts. I want you to connect. I want you to not have any of that doubt, not even one little smidgen of it, but to live with the joy and the peace and the love you deserve. So if you're interested, join me for the meditation on Facebook, 1:00 Wednesdays, or join me for the Green Terra group on soulmanifesto.com, that which is free, a wonderful discussion. By the way, the Buddhist monk, or the Buddhist goddess is the Green Terra. So join me. Let's bring light to your world. But also, check out Soul Manifesto, please, because I'll tell you what, we had the Green Terra discussion sharing group. And this is where I can bring in, why is it Green Terra? Because, guys, Green Terra is the Buddhist goddess of hearing the soul, being guided by our heart. Okay? So with that, I think that is just so perfect because we're going to be discussing everything under the sun. We actually did talk about fear because it's so prevalent on people's minds last week. We meet every other week, Thursdays at 7:00. If you're interested, you got to go to Soul Manifesto. Green Terra just pops up right there. Just click on it. And the reason why you're putting in your email or your phone number, one or the other, probably both, I really want to text, is because I'll send you notices letting you know that it's going to be taking place. So you get reminders, that's all. But I'll tell you something, it's dynamic because it's not just me teaching. We are all talking. It was so much fun because you all have nuggets you don't know. And if I can get you to start discovering them and bring them forward, we get a really wonderful synergy in that group. So join us if you're interested and look around Soul Manifesto. And as always, stay connected to that special part inside you. Stay connected to all the fabulous people we have on this planet, but do it 6 feet apart right now. And then please stay connected to Source. Namaste.
This has been Magical Moments with Alena, featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.